Long before a sigh escapes your chest, there is a tenderness in the unseen already moving in your direction. Your heart may not yet understand its own burden, but the one who shaped that heart knows the weight before it becomes heavy. In the silence of your inner world, he prepares relief like a hidden breeze waiting behind a closed door, a breeze that will reach you the moment your strength begins to fade. Ibni Arabi would say, the soul is never abandoned to its own darkness, because divine care travels ahead of every sorrow, softening paths that you have not yet walked, easing outcomes you have not yet faced, and sending help for pains you have not yet discovered. So when you finally whisper your need, realize that heaven had already answered the moment your heart began to tremble. Long before you knew which prayer to make, before the heart even senses the first tremble of heaviness, mercy has already begun unfolding in the unseen. It moves quietly, like a breeze traveling ahead of a storm, softening the path the soul will walk. The heart believes it is alone in its coming struggle, unaware that divine care has been set in motion long before its burden takes shape. This is the subtle generosity of the one who knows the heart better than it knows itself. Mercy anticipates what the soul has not yet discovered, and this anticipation is itself a kind of hidden love. Mercy begins moving when the first shadow forms in your destiny, before your emotions rise, before your thoughts unravel. The unseen prepares the comfort suited to your coming ache, arranging it with a precision the heart cannot comprehend. You do not witness this preparation, but you will feel its arrival at the exact moment weakness overtakes you. It is as though the solution is already waiting at the gate before the trial reaches your door. This is the secret tenderness that surrounds the believer even in silence. The heart often misunderstands the timing of events. It imagines mercy comes after pain as a response, but the unseen works differently. Mercy walks first, pain walks after. What you feel as relief began its journey long before your tears did. The divine response is never late. It is simply hidden until your heart reaches the moment where it needs to be unveiled. The heart cries last, but mercy begins first. When the heart feels steady and unaware, mercy is already traveling in its direction. It moves like light through darkness, quiet, uninterrupted, purposeful. You may be smiling, distracted, engaged in ordinary life, unaware of the unseen shifts being shaped on your behalf. Yet your tomorrow is already being softened by a care you haven't called upon. The heart's future wounds are known, and ease is being arranged with the gentleness of divine foresight. Sometimes mercy takes the form of people you haven't met yet, souls who will appear at the precise moment your strength falters. Their footsteps are being guided even now, though you are unaware of their existence. You live in separate stories today, but the unseen is weaving your destinies together for a moment of support only Allah foresaw. This is mercy preparing itself before sorrow matures in your heart. Sometimes mercy does not come as comfort. It comes as protection. Protection from paths you were never meant to walk. A door closes long before you know why. A plan fails long before you know what it saved you from. The unseen blocks harm before your heart knows it has been shielded. The heart may call it disappointment, but heaven calls it preemptive mercy. And only later does the soul recognize the wisdom that was already moving in its favor. The heart believes it learns its lessons from experience, but some lessons are prevented by divine compassion. Before a mistake solidifies, mercy intervenes, quietly redirecting your steps. You may never realize the disaster you were gently nudged away from. The unseen erases dangers before your heart is aware of their existence. This too is mercy moving early, guarding you from what your eyes could not see. There are moments when sadness arrives unexpectedly, but even then, mercy has walked ahead of it. The comfort destined for you is already positioned in your future, waiting for the moment when sorrow meets the place where healing has been planted. You step into the relief as naturally as you step into your grief. Both were orchestrated, but mercy was placed first. This order is the hidden rhythm of divine care. Before your heart begins to tire, strength is already being gathered for you. This strength waits beneath your fatigue like a hidden reservoir, placed there long before your exhaustion appeared. You will discover it only when the moment comes, but its preparation began in the unseen, without your request. The heart will wonder how it endured. The unseen will know it endured by mercy prepared in advance. Mercy begins its movement when a challenge is written for you, not when it reaches you. The divine script is layered with solutions before difficulties are allowed to manifest. You experience the difficulty last, but the cure has been alive in the unseen long before. This is why hardships never arrive without a path through them, even when the heart feels lost. The path existed before the burden. There is a moment in life when everything seems to fall apart, yet simultaneously, everything silently rearranges for your benefit. This rearrangement began long before your heartbreak. The unseen adjusted circumstances, shifted possibilities, and planted ease in places you have not yet reached. While you believed nothing was happening, mercy was weaving your future from threads you could not detect. When the heart is unaware of its coming weakness, Allah is aware. He prepares guidance like lanterns placed along the road before night falls. As you walk into your darkness, the light reveals itself exactly when needed. These lanterns were placed long before your night began. The heart experiences it as divine timing, but the unseen knows it as preparation. Before your heart feels alone, companionship has already been written. A conversation, a message, a presence. Something will reach you at the right moment. It was arranged before your loneliness was born. This is the mercy that moves silently, bringing comfort before the sorrow that requires it. The heart thinks it stumbles upon relief, but relief was placed deliberately. There are difficulties that approach your life quietly, yet mercy approaches them more quietly still and faster. Trials may arrive suddenly, but mercy was in motion before them. This is why hardships rarely break you completely. The unseen cushions the impact of every challenge with a softness prepared long before. You survive because mercy reached the moment before pain did. Mercy often comes in the form of clarity. Even before confusion enters your heart, the unseen shapes the moment of understanding that will release you from it. This clarity is waiting ahead like water in a desert. The heart will reach it after wandering, but the water was placed first. This is how divine compassion precedes every bewilderment. When the heart begins to drift, mercy begins to pull it back gently. The soul is unaware of this pull, mistaking it for coincidence or intuition, but it is the unseen turning you away from paths that would harm you. These turns began long before you realized your direction was wrong. Mercy corrects your steps before you are aware they need correction. Even blessings arrive long before you recognize them as blessings. A seed is planted in your life through an event, a delay, a loss, or a meeting. You walk past the seed unaware of its purpose. But when the moment comes, it blossoms into a blessing placed for that exact moment of need. Its planting was mercy. Its blooming is understanding. The unseen prepared it quietly. Before the heart breaks, healing is arranged. Before the heart fears, reassurance is sent. Before the heart questions, answers are prepared. This is the divine order: mercy first, test second. The heart discovers this pattern only when it looks back and sees how it was carried through moments it thought it would collapse beneath. The unseen always walks ahead. Mercy moves ahead of you because Allah's care is not reactive. It is anticipatory. He does not wait for you to suffer before preparing support. His compassion surrounds your future the way air surrounds your body. You breathe it without noticing. You walk into it without seeking. Mercy lives ahead of you, shaping what you will need before the need exists. When mercy begins moving before your heart knows it needs it, you are reminded of the truth. you are never walking alone. The unseen travels the road ahead of you, clearing stones, softening hardships, and planting ease in places you cannot yet see. By the time your heart trembles, the remedy has already arrived. This is the quiet miracle of divine tenderness, prepared in silence, delivered with precision, felt in the deepest part of the soul. Before your mind forms a single sentence about your pain, the unseen has already sensed its first ripple. Pain begins in a place deeper than thought, in the quiet chamber where the soul trembles long before the heart understands why. The unseen watches that first tremble, the way a parent watches the slightest shift in a child's breathing. There is no delay in recognition. The moment your soul stirs, the unseen responds with a tenderness your awareness has not yet caught up to. Pain often begins as something so subtle you ignore it. An uneasiness, a tightening, a heaviness without name. Yet the unseen recognizes that shift with perfect clarity. It knows what that faint discomfort will grow into long before you do. In its wisdom, it prepares ease and guidance for a sorrow you have not even acknowledged. While you continue walking unaware, the unseen is already arranging relief for the ache forming quietly inside you. Your thoughts arrive late to your own suffering. The soul feels before the mind interprets, and the unseen responds to feeling, not interpretation. Long before your inner voice says, "I am hurting," the unseen has already begun drawing compassion toward you. This is why comfort sometimes appears suddenly, from nowhere. Before you even understand what's wrong, the unseen moved first because it recognized your pain's birth. When sadness starts forming, it doesn't appear as sadness. It appears as fatigue, restlessness, distance from things you once enjoyed. Before you interpret these signs, the unseen reads them as clearly as written text. It identifies the meaning behind these small shifts and moves toward you with support that fits the depth of what is coming. You walk into comfort already prepared for a pain you haven't named. Sometimes the mind denies what the heart feels. You tell yourself, "I'm fine," while something inside you quietly crumbles. But the unseen is not deceived by your words. It recognizes the fracture beneath your forced strength. It knows the truth your thoughts are avoiding, and it answers the truth, not the denial. Help begins arriving for the wound before you admit the wound exists. The unseen reads your pain through the language of your soul, not the language of your thoughts. Your thoughts may be confused, but the soul cannot hide its tremors. Even a slight weakening of hope is visible to the unseen. That weakening triggers mercy immediately, before you consciously register the shift in your inner world. This is the perfection of divine awareness. Nothing in you goes unnoticed. Before you understand the cause of your pain, the unseen understands its purpose. It sees how this pain will shape you, redirect you, soften you, or elevate you. And because it sees the purpose, it also prepares the healing that must accompany it. Healing is placed on your path before the pain matures. When the ache finally reaches your awareness, the remedy is already waiting like a lantern left lit for you. There are wounds that form quietly over time, layer by layer, without your mind noticing. But each layer is visible to the unseen the moment it forms. It watches the inner weight accumulate and sends small mercies along the way to keep you from collapsing. These mercies appear as unexpected peace, a sudden reminder, a moment of understanding, or a person who arrives at the right time. Each one is an unseen response to a pain you have not processed. The unseen recognizes your pain because it recognizes you, your nature, your limits, your unspoken fears. It knows exactly when your strength begins to thin, even when you still believe you are holding together. Before you break, the unseen adjusts your circumstances softly, keeping you from falling into depths you are not built to endure. This adjustment is the unseen's way of saying, "I saw your pain before you did." When grief starts forming in the heart, it does not speak loudly at first. It whispers, It hides. It folds itself into your days. But the unseen hears the whisper as clearly as a cry. It hears the sadness behind your smile, the ache behind your silence, the exhaustion behind your persistence. It answers that whisper instantly, sending compassion like an invisible hand steadying your steps. Before your heart feels overwhelmed, the unseen senses the shift in your energy. It notices the way you begin to withdraw, the way your breath changes, the way your inner rhythm falters. These small shifts are signals that the unseen never overlooks. Even if you ignore them, it does not. It moves toward you with support, tailored to your exact state, gentle, timely, precise. Sometimes you suddenly feel a strange calm you can't explain. You think it came from nowhere, but it came from the unseen recognizing your rising pain before you did. It placed tranquility in your path as a cushion for an ache that was still forming. Later, when the pain fully arrives, you realize the comfort was already prepared. This is how divine care anticipates your needs. Your thoughts often lie to you, telling you to stay strong, telling you to continue, telling you everything is okay. But the unseen listens not to your thoughts, but to your soul. And the soul speaks honestly. Its tremble is enough for the unseen to begin arranging relief. The unseen protects you from the consequences of your own denial, sending support before you admit you need it. Before you experience heartbreak, the unseen feels the crack forming in your destiny. It senses the collision between what you hope and what is written. And before the heart feels the rupture, the unseen softens the impact by placing wisdom, patience, or a new opportunity on the way. When the heartbreak arrives, you find yourself strangely able to bear it. This strength was not yours. It was prepared for you. Pain arrives slowly to the mind but instantly to the unseen. The unseen recognizes the shift in your inner light, the dimming of a flame, the weight settling onto your chest. It knows what is coming, even while you continue walking unaware. It begins weaving mercy into your environment so gently that you do not notice anything changing. But when the moment of collapse arrives, you fall into cushions placed ahead of time. The unseen recognizes your pain because it never loses sight of you. While you may be distracted, lost, overwhelmed, or unmindful, the unseen remains attentive. Every change in your heart's rhythm is noticed. Every hidden struggle is taken into account. The unseen tracks your inner storms long before they reach the surface, positioning comfort exactly where you will need it. Before hardship reaches your awareness, the unseen has already measured its weight. It prepares the exact strength required for you to survive it. That strength may come as patience, resilience, clarity, or support from unexpected places. By the time the hardship touches your thoughts, the unseen has already equipped your soul with what it needs to endure. Nothing arrives alone. Every pain arrives with its counterpart of mercy. Sometimes the unseen recognizes your pain even before it exists. It knows the future echoes of your heart, the coming moments of heaviness, the lessons awaiting you. And in its boundless compassion, it prepares relief long in advance. This is why some blessings feel perfectly timed. They were planted for a moment the unseen saw long before you lived it. The unseen recognizes your pain early because it stands closer to your inner truth than your thoughts do. Thoughts are shaped by fear, logic, denial, or hope, but the unseen reads the heart as it is. It responds to your essence, not your explanations. Your soul trembles once, and divine compassion moves instantly, long before your mind understands the message of that tremble. When the unseen recognizes your pain before you do, you learn a profound truth. You have never been left to face your suffering alone. Even the parts of you that are hidden from yourself are seen by the one who fashioned your soul. By the time your pain reaches your thoughts, divine relief has already begun its journey toward you. This is the mystery of divine closeness. He sees what stirs in you before you even find words for it. Long before your feet touch a difficult moment, the unseen has already walked that path on your behalf. It has smoothed the stones, softened the edges, and adjusted the terrain so your heart will not shatter under the weight of what's coming. The trial may still feel heavy, but not as heavy as it could have been. This quiet preparation is a mercy wrapped in silence, placed ahead of you by the one who knows every step your soul will take. The unseen prepares your path the way dawn prepares the earth for sunlight. Slowly, gently, without announcing itself. What could have broken you entirely becomes a lesson. What could have scarred you deeply becomes a transformation. And what could have drowned you becomes the very tide that carries you closer to Allah. This happens because the path was softened before the trial arrived. Your future hardships do not approach you without the unseen shaping their intensity. Before a difficulty reaches your life, it is measured, reduced, and balanced by divine wisdom. You face only the portion that will elevate you, not destroy you. What you experience is the softened version of what was written. The unseen removes what your heart could not carry and leaves only what will strengthen its core. There are challenges destined for you that were once sharp like thorns, but have been softened to petals by unseen mercy. You still feel their touch, but not their sting. These softened hardships are not punishments, they are invitations to growth. The unseen knows how much pressure is required to reveal the hidden strength inside you, and it shapes the trial accordingly, long before you encounter it. Some trials arrive in your life with ease woven into their foundation. You may wonder why you were able to endure something so heavy, but the unseen knows why. It prepared you. It trained your heart quietly through earlier experiences, shaped your resilience through small struggles, and strengthened your spirit through moments you didn't think mattered. These preparations softened the path before the real trial arrived. The unseen often places people along your path before your trial reaches them. Someone's presence, someone's words, someone's kindness. They become part of the softness laid out ahead of time. You meet them before you know why. Only later do you realize their role in helping you stand when your moment of difficulty finally arrives. Their placement was not coincidence, but divine engineering. Even before you understand your own weaknesses, the unseen strengthens them. It places in your character a patience you will need later, a wisdom that will guide you, a softness that will protect you from becoming hard. These subtle gifts are not random, they are divine preparations. They are the unseen's way of softening your inner landscape for the trials that will test it. Some hardships are softened not by removing their pain, but by placing meaning within them. When the path is filled with purpose, suffering loses its power to break you. The unseen infuses meaning into situations long before they unfold. By the time you face the trial, your heart is already conditioned to see beyond the struggle. This inner sight is the softness placed ahead of you. Before sorrow reaches you, joy is placed along your path to balance it. Before fear visits you, courage is planted in your heart unknowingly. Before loneliness appears, companionship is prepared. These small blessings woven throughout your life serve as anchors during future storms. They are the unseen's way of ensuring you don't sink when waves begin to rise. The unseen adjusts your path by removing harms you never even noticed. A meeting you missed, a delay you hated, a plan that collapsed. All of these were softeners. They kept you from encountering a version of your trial that was harsher than what you were meant to face. What felt like setbacks were actually shields laid down before your steps. There are trials written for your destiny that could have arrived earlier, when you were too fragile to bear them. But the unseen delayed them until your heart had grown stronger. That delay was a mercy. You interpret it as bad timing, but divine timing is always protective. The delay softened the path, ensuring the trial would come when it could shape you, not break you. Sometimes softness appears in the form of understanding. Before confusion enters your life, the unseen prepares clarity through experiences, reminders, or insights. When the trial comes, that clarity becomes your guide, preventing you from drowning in uncertainty. What you call intuition is often the result of preparation done on your behalf before the difficulty arrived. Before you enter a painful chapter, the unseen gives you small moments of peace. These moments become reservoirs of calm that you draw from later without realizing it. You think the peace is fleeting, but it is stored in your soul. When the trial arrives, you find within yourself a calmness you didn't expect. That calmness is the softness placed ahead of you. The unseen softens your path by removing people who would have made your trial harder. You may grieve their absence, not realizing their presence would have deepened your pain. Their departure was a protection woven into your destiny. It made space for people who would support you during hardships you have not yet reached. Some trials are softened by being rerouted. You think you reached your destination through your own decisions, but the unseen shifted your course gently, leading you away from places where your heart would have suffered unnecessarily. By the time the trial arrives, you are standing in a place already prepared to soften its impact. The unseen sometimes strengthens your faith before your trial arrives. A verse hits you deeply, a sermon touches your heart, a moment of worship transforms you. At the time, you think it was random. Later, you realize it was training. Your heart was fortified before the storm began. That spiritual strength was placed in advance to cushion what was coming. Before pain enters your life, the unseen often sends signs. A dream, a thought, a subtle uneasiness, something that hints at what's approaching. These signs are not warnings, they are preparations. They soften the shock of the moment, allowing your heart to receive the trial with acceptance instead of collapse. The unseen never leaves you unprepared. Your path is softened through the wisdom you accumulate unknowingly. A lesson learned years ago suddenly becomes essential. A hardship you overcame earlier becomes your anchor now. The unseen placed these lessons in your past so they could serve your future. Nothing you went through was wasted. Every experience was a softener for what you haven't yet faced. The unseen softens the path by giving you moments of trust before moments of fear. A prayer that touched you, a night of closeness to Allah, a moment of surrender. They become spiritual cushions that absorb the weight of future pain. You think the moment has passed, but its softness remains within your soul. It becomes the hidden support when the trial finally appears. When the path is softened before the trial arrives, you realize something profound. You were never meant to face your destiny alone. Every hardship has been edited, lightened, cushioned, and prepared by the unseen long before it reached your heart. The softness placed ahead of you is the signature of divine compassion. Quiet, precise, and always present, even when you do not see it. Before a single word forms on your tongue, divine support is already unfolding in the unseen. Prayer, in its deepest reality, begins long before the servant speaks. It begins as a tremor in the soul, a subtle shift in the heart's direction. Allah answers that tremor instantly, even before you recognize it as a prayer. The unseen moves toward you the moment your heart leans inward, long before thoughts gather into coherent pleas. The heart often struggles to articulate its need. You feel something heavy, something missing, something wounded, yet you have no words for it. But the unseen does not wait for clarity. It reads the ache beneath the confusion and sends support suited to the need you cannot explain. You receive comfort you never consciously asked for, because the one who created you understands the language of your pain before you do. Sometimes help arrives so early that you mistake it for coincidence. A person appears with kindness, a thought settles your heart, a door opens unexpectedly. These moments are not random. They are answers to prayers still forming. The unseen sensed the beginning of your inner plea. and moved gently to deliver ease before you understood what you were asking for. This is divine generosity preceding human expression. There are times when you feel a sudden peace in the middle of worry, even without making dua. This peace is the unseen responding to a prayer that existed as emotion, not words. Allah responds to the heart's state, not only the tongue's articulation. Your unspoken anxiety called for reassurance, and reassurance arrived. The prayer wasn't verbal, but it was heard. Your soul often prays in ways your mind cannot register. A sigh, a moment of stillness, a tear you hide. Each becomes a language understood by the unseen. Before you consciously seek strength, strength is placed quietly inside you. Before you seek guidance, clarity begins to form in your heart. Before you seek patience, endurance is woven into your spirit. The support precedes the spoken prayer. The divine does not wait for eloquence. The smallest, softest, inner movement toward Allah is enough to draw mercy into your life. A flicker of humility, a brief moment of surrender, a silent longing to be held. These are prayers without shape, yet they are answered with precision. The unseen knows the depth behind that flicker and responds as though you cried out loudly. Sometimes you're unable to pray because the weight inside you is too heavy. Thoughts scatter, words break, the heart feels numb, yet help still arrives. This is the unseen answering the prayer buried beneath your silence. Allah sees what even you cannot find within yourself. His support does not depend on the completeness of your dua, but on the sincerity of your need. There are moments when ease appears unexpectedly in your path, gently bridging a difficulty you didn't yet recognize as a threat. This ease was placed because your destiny held a hardship approaching, and divine support moved early to cushion it. Your heart had not yet shaped the prayer, but the unseen had already shaped the answer. That answer awaited the moment you would discover the trouble. Sometimes divine support comes in the form of protection you never realized you needed. A closed opportunity, a delayed outcome, a sudden shift. These are answers to prayers that never reached your lips. The unseen knew the danger ahead and intervened before your awareness even woke to the possibility of harm. You are saved from what you never prayed about, because Allah guarded you preemptively. The heart may feel restless without knowing why, but the unseen senses the cause of that restlessness and begins soothing it through subtle ways. A reminder, a verse, a memory of hope. These gentle touches are responses to a prayer still gathering its shape. The heart may take hours or days to understand what it truly needs, but divine support is not bound by your timing. When tears form before words, the unseen responds to the tears. These tears speak a truth more sincere than language. Long before you wipe them, support begins descending around you. You may feel it as warmth, as calm, as a sudden insight. Allah listens to the tears themselves, not just the dua that may follow. The help arrives in anticipation, not reaction. At times you make a prayer without realizing you made it. A longing flickers briefly in your chest, then fades. But the unseen catches that longing instantly, treats it as a full prayer, and begins shaping its fulfillment. Later, when the answer reaches you, you wonder why the blessing arrived so perfectly. It arrived because the unseen heard a prayer you didn't know you prayed. Before you seek guidance, the unseen lays signs in your path. These signs appear in moments that seem ordinary at first, yet become meaningful when clarity emerges. The guidance was prepared ahead of time for a confusion you had not yet faced. Your heart would eventually ask for direction, but the answer was already waiting. This is divine support preceding human searching. Your future prayers are often answered before they exist. The unseen anticipates your needs with a compassion deeper than anything you could express. Blessings are positioned like lanterns along your future steps, placed there long before you walk into darkness. When the darkness comes, the lanterns are already lit. This is the unseen, ensuring you are never truly alone. Sometimes the support arrives through a shift in your heart that you cannot explain. A burden lightens, a fear softens, a worry dissolves. These inner shifts are not accidents. They are answers arriving early. You had not yet formed the prayer for comfort, but comfort was already descending. Allah saw the storm forming in your heart and placed stillness inside you before the clouds grew heavy. Even the moments of ease you experience without reason are forms of divine anticipation. Your heart is given extra tranquility in preparation for a coming challenge. This tranquility is not random. It is a shield crafted before the battle begins. By the time you face the hardship, you find resilience already present within you. It was planted before your prayer took shape. Some solutions appear before you even recognize there is a problem. A person offers help, a path opens, a thought appears at the perfect moment. These are answers arriving before the question formed. The unseen knew the difficulty your heart was about to meet and sent the solution ahead of it. You step into the answer before stepping into the need. When divine support arrives early, it teaches you something profound. Allah's care is not limited by the timing of your dua. He responds to your soul, not just your speech. The prayer begins in the unseen before it begins in your awareness. Help moves toward you from a world where your needs are known before you think them, and your wounds are seen before you feel them. Before your prayer takes shape, the unseen evaluates your path, your burdens, your fears, your limitations, and your hidden strengths. It shapes a response that fits you perfectly, delicate where you are fragile, firm where you are strong. This individualized support arrives before the struggle fully appears. It is tailored mercy waiting beneath your steps. When divine support arrives before your prayer takes shape, you witness the most intimate truth of Ibn Arabi's teachings. Allah is closer to your heart than your own understanding of it. He knows what stirs within you before you reach for Him, and so He reaches for you first, answering the need before you name it, healing the wound before you see it, and guiding your steps before you ask for direction. In every step you take, there is a mercy walking ahead of you, clearing what would harm you, softening what might break you, and preparing comfort for wounds you have not yet felt. Ibn Arabi teaches that the divine is never distant. He responds to the whisper before it becomes sound, to the need before it becomes a prayer, to the ache before it becomes a tear. So when relief arrives quietly, recognize it as a sign of a Lord who cared for you before you even knew how to care for yourself. This is the hidden help that holds you, always present, always early, always near.